Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Some blinking was going on. Even now it is going on. I don't know why. Okay, we are now into the 36th session, and this session is bringing up chapter 17. We all realize that Bhagavad Gita is chapter 18 chapters. So we are now in chapter 17. So before we move ahead, let us also do a little recap. At present, all of us are wandering. Wandering meaning in pure Hindi, हम लोग भटकती आत्मा है. Bhatakti Atma actually brings us to mind some configuration like what is in that Gumnam, that Hindi movie called Gumnam, that Tamil movie called Shanti Nilayam, like some ghost or something. It's not that. It's not Gumnam. We are all wandering after those which we identify as my pleasure. We are wandering after that. Or we are wandering away from those which we identify as my pain. So we are seeking joys and we are forsaking sorrows. But what is the reality? Our sorrows are chasing us and our joys are running away from us. This is typically the pattern in which we are living. So we get frustrated, we get angry, we are hysterical at the injustice that our life is dishing out for us. If I were to give an example, I was driving from Karnataka to Tamil Nadu. I wanted to go to a village called Jatahalli. By the name itself, it means that it is somewhere in Karnataka. I, without realizing, entered Tamil Nadu. And I realized that my map was probably not showing correctly and I was probably lost. I stopped by a tea stall and asked one fellow, Tamil Nadu. I asked that fellow, where is Jatahalli? He said, what? What Jatahalli? Because it is not Karnataka, it is Tamil Nadu. He doesn't know any village by that name. So then, a little ahead, I went and asked one truck which was standing. Truck drivers go around all the country, no? So I went and asked the truck driver, where is Jatahalli? He said, Jatahalli? It is there behind. You came about 3-4 kilometers ahead. Go back, take a U-turn and go back. After about 6-7 kilometers, you will find Jatahalli on your left. Go there. So what happened? At the moment, my direction was lost. I sought direction from somebody. That person told me to take a U-turn and travel a little inwards of where I had already left and come. All our condition is exactly the same. We have left the inwards of where our happiness is and we are running after finding joy outside and we go away. The only thing is for us to take a U-turn and travel inwards. That is the way we have to learn to conduct ourselves. I'll share a slide to explain this a little better. This is a beautiful caricature. A friend is asking his friend, where did you find that? Inside him, the other friend is happiness. Where did you find that? I have been searching for it everywhere. All our condition is exactly the same. We are searching for happiness everywhere else. And then that bloke says, I created it myself. Which means what? The happiness which was there inside, I created the circumstances which made it possible for me to find it by taking a U-turn inwards. This is what is our condition today. So, what is our situation? Otherwise, we are running away from unhappiness, we are running away from sorrow, from darkness, from depression, and we are trying to find a light against all this outside. Whereas all we need to do is turn you, face them, and we'll find that that happiness is actually inside. By running away from this, we are not going to achieve anything. That is what we understand. So moving ahead, we also realize that there are 3 doors to enter hell. our lusty desires which become so strong that they become very lusty for us, our anger which is become so strong that we are in a rage, wrathful against anybody else, or our greed which doesn't end at all and we seek more and more, we just don't want to stop there. Now, if I learn to manage my desires are good, but if I learn to manage my desires, my attachment to the desires will not plunge me into disaster. This is what I realize. So, what is the problem? Desires are good, but it is my attachment to the desires which is binding me down. That is what is plunging me into disaster. So, our fancied sorrows that we have, our imaginary problems that we have, they create more problems than the real ones. If you all remember, quite a while ago, I think when we were doing chapter 6, I told all of you to observe a minute or a couple of minutes silence. Correct? I want you to do that now. Whosoever is attending now, I want you to simply close your eyes. Even later on, when somebody is watching this video, at this point in time, I would like you to do this. Just close your eyes, sit quietly for about half a minute. Just close your eyes and sit quietly. Don't think anything, just sit quietly. So the last time I asked you to do this, the moment I spoke after that silence, I said that silence is within you. The moment I spoke, that silence is broken. So silence is something within you. Now in this silence, if I were to ask you a question, what is your problem at this moment? 99.9 recurring out of everybody would say the same thing. At this moment, I have no problem. So we realize that problems are never in the present. Problems are either something which is a legacy from the past or an apprehension of something in the future. That is what is the ones we call as problems. In the present, we have no problems. It is only pure silence and calmness. So what is it that we need to build within ourselves? We also described that last time. Fearlessness, purity of our heart, straightforwardness, ability to engage in charity, humility, not being jealous, not being greedy. Now these are the positive traits that we said we must cultivate within ourselves en route to our path to our own inner self in the U-turn. Because once we develop these, the path inwards becomes easier. This is what we discussed last time. So now we move to chapter 17. I will be playing verse 1 to 13 and we will take it forward from there.
अथ सप्तदशोऽध्यायः श्रद्धात्रयविभागयोगः। अर्जुन उवाच ये शास्त्रविधिमुत्सृज्य यजन्ते श्रद्धयान्विताः तेषां निष्ठा तु का कृष्ण सत्त्वमाहो रजस्तमः। श्रीभगवानुवाच त्रिविधा भवति श्रद्धा देहिनां सा स्वभावजा सात्विकी राजसी चैव तामसी चेति तं शृणु। सत्त्वानुरूपा सर्वस्य श्रद्धा भवति भारत। श्रद्धामयोऽयं पुरुषो यो यच्छ्रद्धः स एव सः। यजन्ते सात्विका देवान्यक्षरक्षांसि राजसाः प्रेतान् भूतगणांश्चान्ये यजन्ते तामसा जनाः अशास्त्रविहितं घोरं तप्यन्ते ये तपो जनाः दम्भाहङ्कारसंयुक्ताः कामरागबलान्विताः कर्षयन्तः शरीरस्थं भूतग्राममचेतसः मां चैवान्तः शरीरस्थं तान् विद्यासुरनिश्चयान् आहारस्त्वपि सर्वस्य त्रिविधो भवति प्रियः यज्ञस्तपस्तथा दानं तेषां भेदमिमं शृणु आयुः सत्त्वबलारोग्यसुखप्रीतिविवर्धनाः रस्याः स्निग्धाः स्थिरा हृद्या आहाराः सात्विकप्रियाः कट्वं ललवणात्युष्णतीक्ष्णरूक्षविदाहिनः आहारा राजसस्येष्टा दुःखशोकामयप्रदाः यातयामं गतरसं पूतिपर्युषितं च यत् उच्छिष्टमपि चामेध्यं भोजनं तामसप्रियम् अफलाकाङ्क्षिभिर्यज्ञो विधिदृष्टो य युज्यते यष्टव्यमेवेति मनः समाधाय स सात्विकः अभिसन्धाय तु फलं दम्भार्थमपि चैव यत् युज्यते भरतश्रेष्ठतं यज्ञं विद्धि राजसम् विधिहीनमसृष्टान्नं मन्त्रहीनमदक्षिणम् श्रद्धाविरहितं यज्ञं तामसं परिचक्षते.
The name of this topic itself, this chapter itself is Shraddha Traya Vibhaga Yoga. Shraddha, faith. Traya Vibhaga, 3 divisions. So Shraddha has got 3 divisions. This is the name of the chapter itself. So let us try to understand what we are discussing. Now, in any field of work that I am doing, in whatever work that I am operating, I must have faith in the knowledge of the work that I am doing. I must have faith in the people that I am working with. I must have faith in the sincerity of my effort. And I must have faith in the strength of the character, of my own character, to correct when I go wrong. Obviously, all this is required. So, faith is an integral part of any progress that I achieve in any work, for everybody. To you, to me, to everybody in the world. Unless I have faith, I cannot achieve anything. Now, that faith is the essential driving force for my personality to express in the world. So, I must have faith in my ability, in the tools I have, in the audience I am dealing with, in the work that I am doing, in the sincerity of my effort, in the goal that I am pursuing. I must have faith. But my knowledge of the way of my work, or my knowledge of the way of the world, or my knowledge about the wisdom in teaching is absent. Then how am I classified? That is, assuming I have faith, but I don't have knowledge. I have faith. Many of us work like that. We have faith in whatever we are doing, etc., etc. But what is our knowledge? Our knowledge about our work, our knowledge about the way of the world, our knowledge about the wisdom in whatever teaching is there, it is all absent. Then how will I be classified? Traya Vibhaga, 3 divisions, no? Let us try to understand that. Our faith is also dependent basically on the basis of our Subhava, our own inner nature. The faith also depends entirely on that. What is our Subhava? So the natural instincts which are in me, which is coming out of my own past imprints, that will guide my own faith. So the Vishwas, faith meaning what? Vishwas, isn't it? In the Hindi word for faith is Vishwas. So my Vishwas must be out of an understanding. So the Vishwas can be purity filled, absolutely pure. And a restless to reach my goals. I can be pure, absolutely pure, or I can be very restless to reach my goals. Or my vishwas can be diabolically evil, that I am willing to destroy anybody, I am willing to cause harm to anybody, so that my desires, my goals, I am able to achieve. This is, all the three are possible. All the three ways are possible. So the song that comes to my mind is तुम आशा विश्वास हमारे, तुम धरती आकाश हमारे. This is what we need to cultivate, a vishwas in that supreme, that highest principle, so that whatever I pursue, it will be on the right path. Now those whose dynamism or faith is pure, so irrespective of the opinion of others, they will always invoke the purity of that supreme principle. How can I explain this to you? Again, with a slide. My faith is pure in the sense that my vishwas is always on the higher principle. And irrespective of whatever is the opinion of others, I am able to invoke the power of that supreme every time I work. So how will it be classified? How will I look like? I will be calm like Shiva. That Shiva principle will manifest in the way I work. Because I am calm, I always invoke that purity, and the way I work will be with that invocation always. Now there are many people, actually most people are those whose personality is full of restlessness. To possess something, always running after things or people, wanting this or that. Their invocation will be of those who are rich and powerful. Correct? So if I want to do something, I'm always restless to achieve something. Business, I will run after customers. I want some work, I'll run after some prospective clients. I want more money, I will run after that which is giving me money. So everywhere, I will only be running after that which is the primary principle which is operating in me, and that is to possess, always running after things. So in divine beings, when I look at that person whom I will worship, in divine beings, I will be worshipping Kubera. Kubera is known to be an asura. Kubera is known to be an asura. And if you remember in one of those talks, I don't remember whether I mentioned that he is like the cousin of Ravana. So Kubera is what they will worship. They say they will go to Tirupati and then they will put some money in the hundial and all that. But ultimately, who they are worshipping? They are worshipping Kubera. And then there are others who are evil-minded. And they will be invoking what kind of people? They will be invoking evil people only, like Gunda and criminals and all, because their interest is also like that. So their invoking Lord will be somebody demonic who's holding the entire world in her jaws and ensuring that the power of evil is superseded in whatever you do. So what I am, what I invoke will be on the basis of what is my inner nature. This is what happens. So what is it that we mean by tapas? Tapas means self-denial. So self-denial of contrary obstacles to achieve my goal. Like for example, if at this moment I had to start my talk at 5 o'clock, and at 5 o'clock, let us say that my college friends have called me for a party. I denied myself that opportunity for going to that party because I had to do this talk, which means that I denied a contrary obstacles to achieve a goal, which at this moment is to address this webinar. So it is the very means of achievement. This tapas is the very means of achievement. If I have to achieve something, I must be willing to give up something. My effort must be in that direction. And that effort in that direction can be possible only if I have the determination to achieve that goal. I want to give you one more slide example for explaining this. And there is a story associated with it. We all know of Buddha. We know that he attained nirvana under the Bodh Gaya tree, etc. We all know that. We also know a story that, he was a prince and of Kapilavastu, and then he went on to find truth. and in that he did a lot of penance, etc. As a part of his penance, so this is the Buddha that we know. The Buddha who became Gautama, who became the Buddha, Gautama the Buddha, as we know. This is how he was, and this is his pose in the Nirvana that we are all familiar with. But what about this pose, which is there in many places, where by denial, self-denial of food, of any kind of worldly pleasure, he encouraged this kind of austerity, this tapas, to find the truth. But even after doing this, he did not find truth. But this experiment was required for him to know that this is not the way. If you look at Buddha's way, penance itself, how it was in a eliminating, not this, not this, not this, not this, not this. Like that, he eliminated everything and to come to the ultimate truth by self-experience. Now, if I or you were to undergo this kind of a self-experiment, 3 days after starving, we will say fourth day, Baba, Baba, jane do, Buddha ko maro goli, mere ko abhi agla khana de do. That is our condition. He was a realized soul. That physical denial made him realize that that physical denial is not the way. And then later on, after he achieved Nirvana, he said, this is not the path. The path is to know what is to be done, and doing that rightly, that is the path you need to follow. So even this self-denial that we talk about, this tapas that we talk about, is also by our effort towards a direction, rejecting that which is preventing me from reaching my goal. We have some people who follow self-denial in their desire attachment. Some people do that, you know. मैं तो एकादशी का फास्ट रखता हूँ, या मैं हर 40 दिन में 2 दिन खाता नहीं हूँ. And what do? They are arrogant about it. They are thinking that they are doing it for a noble cause. Why should you have to tom-tom to everybody that this is what I am doing, this is what I am doing? Ultimately, you are doing that tapas for your own sake. Why is it that you have to project it outside? So that is an arrogance within themselves. So they torture their mind and body in the ego of their own prejudice. And they will confuse the Supreme Lord to be someone outside rather than someone within. This is what happens. So they become undivine demonic people. So this is what you need to understand, that when we are talking about developing that kind of an attitude, the attitude must be in an understanding that why am I doing it? For my own self-correction. So intelligent and progressive people will use the methods to reach the divinity within by acting on their knowledge. And why are they acting on that knowledge? For their own inner peace and for the well-being of those around them. So all practices that they pursue will be with a correct understanding and faith that in the Supreme they will be guided to their own pinnacles of happiness. That should be the attitude. Now, whatever we consume, whether it is food that we eat with our mouth or the food that comes to us through our other indriyas, and which is food for our mind, and whatever effort we put in, whether it is for our benefit or for the benefit of others around us, whatever we apparently seem to sacrifice, whether it is for selfish gains or for a utilitarian gain, whatever we give in the form of charity, whether it is in the act of a self-glory for myself or an egoless love share, the way I do any of these will determine the nature of my personality, whether I am divine or whether I am devilish. That is entirely left in the way I perform those. So food, whether it is oral or otherwise, I remember I mentioned oral or otherwise, once we have tasted that which is increasing our own purity, which is improving our own strength, which is giving us better health, which is giving us joy, which is increasing our lifespan. Lifespan meaning not number of years, the happiness which is within us, which keeps us cheerful always. We are drawn towards that most of the time. That is what we want. Now, unless our mood changes to that of aggression or destruction, which is possible, because abhi ekdam shant hu, something, everything is going fine, somebody is distracting me while I am talking to you. First, second, third, I patiently listen. Fourth time, that anger in me starts rising. It becomes raging. I said, oh, what happened to my mood? What happened to my purity of thought? Everything gone in a moment. That is what happens. So unless my mood changes to aggression or destruction, this purity is what we will be in a position to maintain. Now let us take for example just eating habits. Since childhood, we were given dal chawal, dahi chawal, I mean South Indian style, dahi chawal. Chawal was staple food. So you grew up with that, right? Sambar rice, some vegetables. This is how you grew. Then when I went to college, friends introduced me to a new item. It is called meat. And I start eating that. When I start eating that, automatically my body composition is now changing. So the body also starts protesting. Now, when my parents come to know that I am eating meat, they will scold me, they will tell me something. I become violent at the parents. What is it that I am old enough? I can take my own decision. Blah, 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 blah. Becomes very, very agitated. So the food plus my ego collectively is acting against my own nature of goodness. Now, after a few years, I ate. Let's say after a few years, I realized that this non-veg food is not nutritious and nor is it up to my taste. I come back to my home food, which I used to eat earlier. So what happens? Mood changes. So our mood changes on the basis of our progress in life, and we choose to do that which gives us joy within, which gives us strength within, that which gives us purity within. It is an automatic process in every mind. That is what happens. So the song that comes to my mind is chocolate, lime juice, ice cream, toffee. पहले जैसे अब मेरे शौक है कहाँ गुड़िया खिलाऊं मैं और सहेलियां blah 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 what is something like this. So I changed from what I was doing as a child to do something which is now new. This is what happens. Now, food that is bitter, food that is sour, food that is saline, food that is excessively hot or spicy, dry or burning, these are also enjoyable foods. Now, these are enjoyable for those who are aggressive or agitated by nature because they enjoy this. Their preference is actually driven from their own inner nature, which is to run after enjoyable experiences and running away from their own inner purity because they are not ready for it yet. There is nothing wrong in them. They are not ready for it. So, gradually, as I said, the mood changes. Gradually, as they become ready for it, it will change and their preference will also change. Whereas, stale items, stale food, like cold storage items, tasteless food, or food that is discarded, they are acceptable to those who are dull, uncaring about anything or anybody. There are some people like that. Now, why is this food example very important? Let us take one thing which happens most times. The people are fond of using this word, sattvic food. What is sattvic food? They say sometimes you go to some ashram, etc. In sattvic food, they give you food which is tasteless. Maybe dal, which is very patla wala dal. They give you some rice. Because it is ashram, whatever it is they can afford, they will give you. Now what happens to us? अरे क्या यार ये सात्विक बोल के इसमें टेस्ट ही नहीं है. So sattvic food is not that which is tasteless. Sattvic food is that which is prepared with purity in the heart of the people who are making it. Making sure when they make it, making sure that those who eat it will feel good about it, get purity in their mind, get happiness in their mind, joy in their mind. That is how the sattvic food is prepared. And it does not lead to some sort of negative tendency or a behavior from their side. In India, vegetarian food, because we are a tropical country, vegetarian food is the very most ideal food if you'd ask me. But let us go to somewhere in Antarctica or someplace like that, where weather is very cold, you need food which is hot. Eating meat is a very, very important thing, otherwise you can't survive, you don't get that kind of a strength. So it is not the food, it is the way it is offered, the way it is useful to people of that locality, that is what matters. Now, another way of dealing with food is, there are some people, at least I come across one gentleman whom I know. Every afternoon when food used to come, he will put rice, he'll put the dal, he'll put the sabji 1, sabji 2, he'll mix everything together and he will eat it. So, you never know what is the taste of the dal, what is the taste of sabji 1, what is the taste of sabji 2, you have absolutely no clue. He is used to it, nothing like that, he is used to it. But the same thing if you were to take it, to, let us say, a monk who's saying Bhavati Bhiksham Dehi, that you give me food, they will have one patram in which one vessel in which everybody will give whatever is that they have to offer. Somebody will give rice, somebody will give chapati, somebody will give dal, somebody will give sabji, everything into that vessel. For them, the taste of different things which will lead them to pursue one taste and go away from another taste should not be the consideration, because they have given up life. They are sannyasis. So, food is only meant to give you nutrition. It is not a matter of taste of likes and dislikes that you will pursue. That is their principle. So, you can say that to such a person, that food which is a khichdi is okay. It doesn't matter. But if we have to be given khichdi at home, our khichdi must be well made. You know, there must be a right proportion of ghee, right proportion of vegetables, right proportion of rice. Otherwise, we'll say, what is this? Kya hai? Kharaab hai khichdi. For them, that khichdi is what is their daily food. So, why are we discussing through food? This concept itself, why are we discussing through food? 3 times a day, we eat without fail. Every day, 3 times a day, we eat without fail. So, thoughts which come to our mind through whatever other contacts are there, they will come and go. But we pay attention to the time when we are eating our food. So, through food, the idea of likes and dislikes, the idea of understanding what to eat, what not to eat, what to consume, what not to consume, is easily understood, because food is an example to know how I must receive various things that come to my experience, how I must respond to that faith which I must have, how I develop that faith. That is what this gives an idea. So when I say sacrifice, if I use the word sacrifice, what do you understand? Sacrifice means that I am ready to give up something or offer my effort in any field of work. I am ready to do that. When I do that with a spirit of love or concern, it is considered to be pure, because there is no ego of expectation which is driving it. Whatever work I am doing it, whatever I am giving up, because for example, like I gave you an example, right? 5 o'clock, if my friends were supposed to meet and I had this webinar, I have to give up that to do this. So I must be willing to give up that, and I must be willing to do this. So by sacrificing something and pursuing something else in a spirit of love or concern, it is considered to be pure, because there is no ego of expectation. Then why to do it? If there is no expectation, why should you do it? Because it is the right thing to do. So you need to know what is the right thing to do. When you have the right thing to do, then there is no question of any expectation. Not doing it is an error that I will regret, because it is necessary for those who receive my service or my effort. That is the attitude that I must have. So every duty that we do is a sacrifice, because I am giving up something to perform something else. So not expecting even a thanks, not expecting even gratefulness from the person who receives it. If the service was with an expectation, then what happens? I am supposed to get something. I am supposed to get something. So that becomes a transaction. Now, for example, I am now grateful to all of you that today is the 36th session. You are listening when I am talking. There were occasions when there were only 5 people. There are occasions when there were almost 18, 19 people. You are all listening, those who are coming here. I am able to serve you. My ability to serve is expounded by the fact that you are listening to me. So that I should be grateful to you. I should not expect that you should be grateful to me. I should be grateful to you that you are able to listen to me. That is what it is. So when I sacrifice with an expectation, that is, I am anticipating a reward of any kind, whether it is appreciation or enrollment in some course or a fees, etc., it cannot be termed as a sacrifice, because the very service that I am supposedly providing is like a business transaction. So I gave something, you gave me something. Quid pro quo. Lena dena hisab kitab barabar. So even though I may do that work very diligently, I am doing that with an expectation. Then how can we work without an expectation? It's not possible. Because in Danda, how will you do Danda? Know one thing for sure. that rewards will flow. Rewards will flow commensurate with the effort that I put in. At the time when the effort is being put in, don't think of the reward. Think of what you are giving. Think of how you are giving what you are giving. That attitude is a sacrifice. Reward will come naturally. This faith is what is required in us, within ourselves. So, when any action is done with absolutely no care for somebody else, there are people like that. Many of us do that. I do whatever I want to do. I am not bothered. I no care for others. And disrespectfully. Okay, pagal, usko kya मालूम? Disdainfully. Which means you are totally not bothered about how it is impacting other people. Not at all bothered. It is the meanest nature of work that you can do. It is the meanest nature of giving that anybody can do. Because it stems from the lack of love in our minds. Because when we are doing that work, that calm, we have no love, no pyar. The song that comes to my mind is Subah aur Sham काम ही काम क्यों नहीं लेते पिया प्यार का नाम काम से जिसको मिले न छुट्टी ऐसे सजना से मेरी कुटी कुटी कुटी. Stupid song, but that is what it is. So I will now move ahead, playing verse 14 to 28 of chapter 17.
देवद्विजगुरुप्राज्ञपूजनं शौचमार्जवम् ब्रह्मचर्यमहिंसा च शारीरं तप उच्यते अनुद्वेगकरं वाक्यं सत्यं प्रियहितं च यत् स्वाध्यायाभ्यसनं चैव वाङ्मयं तप उच्यते मनः प्रसादः सौम्यत्वं मौनमात्मविनिग्रहः भावसंशुद्धिरित्येतत् तपो मानसमुच्यते श्रद्धया परया तप्तं तपस्तत्त्रिविधं नरैः अफलाकाङ्क्षिभिर्युक्तैः सात्विकं परिचक्षते सत्कारमानपूजार्थं तपोदम्भेन चैव यत् क्रियते तदिहं प्रोक्तं राजसं चलमध्रुवम् मूढग्राहेणात्मनो यत्पीडया क्रियते तपः परस्योत्सादनार्थं वा तत्तामसमुदाहृतम् दातव्यमिति यद्दानं दीयतेऽनुपकारिणे देशे काले च पात्रे च तद्दानं सात्विकं स्मृतम् यत्तु प्रत्युपकारार्थं फलमुद्दिश्य वा पुनः दीयते च परिक्लिष्टं तद्दानं राजसंस्मृतम् अदेशकाले यद्दानमपात्रेभ्यश्च दीयते असत्कृतमवज्ञातं तत्तामसमुदाहृतम् ॐ तत्सदिति निर्देशो ब्रह्मणस्त्रिविधः स्मृतः ब्राह्मणास्तेन वेदाश्च यज्ञाश्च विहिताः पुरा तस्मादोमित्युदाहृत्य यज्ञदानतपः क्रियाः प्रवर्तन्ते विधानोक्ताः सततं ब्रह्मवादिनाम् तदित्यनभिसन्धाय फलं यज्ञतपः क्रियाः दानक्रियाश्च विविधाः क्रियन्ते मोक्षकाङ्क्षिभिः सद्भावे साधुभावे च सदित्येतत् प्रयुज्यते प्रशस्ते कर्मणि तथा सच्छब्दः पार्थयुज्यते यज्ञे तपसि दाने च स्थितिः सदिति चोच्यते कर्म चैव तदर्थीयं सदित्येवाभिधीयते अश्रद्धया हुतं दत्तं तपस्तप्तं कृतं च यत् असदित्युच्यते पार्थ न च तत्प्रेत्य नो इह ॐ तत्सदिति श्रीमद्भगवद्गीतासु उपनिषत्सु ब्रह्मविद्यायां योगशास्त्रे श्रीकृष्णार्जुनसंवादे श्रद्धात्रयविभागयोगो नाम सप्तदशोऽध्यायः।
Now we hear this word called austerity. Many times we hear that, correct? And it is applicable to us also. How does this word austerity express in us? When we are pure in our heart, with our body, the way we work, the way we interact with other people with our body, we respect and interact with humility to the Lord of our hearts. Because the Lord of our hearts is our own inner self, our energy, our life principle. So we interact with that humility which is in us. And we also have humility and respect to the ones who seek to grow higher in their field of knowledge. For example, somebody is there who's an expert in, let's say, I don't know, painting. And somebody else is there who's painting. I have respect for that person. There is somebody who's wanting to become better and reach, let's say, joy, reach happiness by prayer, by bhajans, by studying, do whatever they think they want to pursue. When they are doing that, I should be respecting that, irrespective of what I am doing. I should be able to respect them. I should have humility towards them. I must have humility towards my teachers. Not only my teachers, generally the clan of teachers as such. I must be able to have respect to wise people. Which means that what we are doing is, we value the entire process of climbing higher in our evolution. And we also recognize that others are also walking the same path. There is no difference between us and others. Now, such a person, if we are like that, even in our speech, we will not cause excitement or agitation in other people. Such a person will be calm and convincing in their speech. They will be truthful to the others, and his conduct will be beneficial and pleasing for the others. Now, such a person will also be pursuing a quest for higher knowledge, that I need to grow. So they will be following that, they will be pursuing that, to make himself wise and erudite. Not only wise, should be in a position to share. This conduct in speech and behavior is what we must all pursue. Now, how many of us practice silence when we hear something which is a little different from our liking? Little different. Suna, how many of us practice silence? We are the first to pounce on the offender. I didn't like it. Huh? ऐसा कैसा बोल दिया तूने? That is our immediate response, isn't it? That is how we react. How many of us actually are silent? Or we anger within ourselves silently. We may be silent. अच्छा ऐसा बोला उसने, ठीक है, आएगा ना वो, अगले दिन मेरे पास आएगा मेरे काम के लिए, तभी मैं उसको बैंड बजाता हूँ. This is anger within us. Silent, but anger within us. But if we were to take a small moment to pause and silently think what we received and then respond, not react, respond, depending on the truth of the situation. If there is truth in what that person is saying, if that person is criticizing me, I should be able to take that criticism. Arey yeah, I think I need to make that correction in myself. If there is no truth in what he is saying, am I able to say, नहीं, तू जो बोल रहा है बकवास, I don't think that is right, because you don't know the facts. First you know the facts, after that you can talk. So we would have displayed in that case a serenity of our mind, good-hearted understanding of the other person's point of view, and a self-controlled response to that situation. This mental austerity is what enables us to become a responsive and responsible person rather than a reactive wreck. We react and then we are the ones who are in distress. So that calmness is required. Now our problem is that most of the time we respond with an intent to gain something. Our response is, what is it in it for me? either a material profit or an appreciation for our work or our talking, or with an intent that the others must honor us or be obedient to us, or with a destructive intent also to cause harm to others, or in a foolish notion that I am superior. This is hypocrisy. And it can torture us, it is self torture. So, this should be the behavioral change that we have to bring in ourselves. So, I brought about this concept of austerity. Now, we will deal with the other side, which is called charity. Now, why should we donate or why should we engage in charity? Actually, why should we give away anything? Why should you do it? The first quality required in giving is a loving understanding of the cause for which you are giving. Whether it is money, whether it is your time, whether it is your material thing, it should be filled with purity at the time of giving. So at the time of giving, the way you must give is something which will evoke a response like this. तूने क्या कर डाला मर गई मैं मिट गई मैं हो रही तेरी दीवानी. It should be in that manner of giving will be like that. The other person must be overwhelmed by what we did. Not because we are expecting. The way we conduct ourselves must lead to that kind of a response from the other, because you have to fill the other person with the love in their heart through the love in your heart. Now what happens to us at the time of giving is, our mental state is like this. First, मेरे को IT deduction मिलना चाहिए. Money देगा, when we give money, IT deduction. Or I have given something to get rid of him. अरे वो मांग रहा है, उसको दे दिया, चल चल. Get rid of him. Or we give with the idea that he is taking undue advantage of me always and I am unable to say no. This is the attitude. Or my name must figure in the major list of donors in his institution. Or he must remember always that he is indebted to me. When I give also, I am thinking he must remember क्यों मैंने उसको दिया है. Now all of these are very lowly thoughts, very small thoughts, which do not augur well for a giver. When I give, I must remember that what I have with me, knowledge, time, money, anything, talent, came to me from the universe. In the universe of things and beings, this was already there. It came to me from the universe. So that which I am now giving is to replenish the universe, because I already have taken. I am replenishing the universe from which I got, so that it may keep flowing. We use the word give and forget. We normally say give and forget. That give and forget, this is what it means. That where you got from the universe of various possibilities, I got something. I am giving it back to that universe through whosoever is the person for replenishing that which I got. That is the way attitude in which you must work. So all chapters of Bhagavad Gita, when you look at it, they end with this Om Tat Saditi. That is how it starts, isn't it? So it basically means that all knowledge flow is the gift of the timeless knowledge field. There is a timeless knowledge field which is pre-existing in the universe and which has been nourished by great masters from time immemorial and who have enabled its unhindered flow to every person in the world. So similarly, all giving is but nothing but a recognition of that Om principle which is in each one of us. It is in you, it is in me, it is in everybody else. So from one Om, it goes to another Om. We are only aiding that flow. There is nothing else that we are doing. So whatever reaches to another is that which is from that timeless one, and we are giving it to the timelessness in the other personality. Where is the ownership? मेरा क्या था कि मैं जो दे रहा हूं करके. Correct? This is the understanding. So any act of work, any act of worship, any act of giving, which is done without an understanding of this principle, is nothing but a hoax. It is to be avoided always. In giving away also, I am unconsciously gaining, because the law of the universe is that when my giving depletes me, someone else's giving replenishes me. I just now said that a little while ago. So when my giving, I am giving away something, I am probably losing something. I may say even money in money terms. But somebody else's giving will replenish my giving. So it is a cycle which is happening in the universe. So then this attitude is what we need to cultivate. So we must learn the art of becoming conduits in unfolding the divinity within each and every soul in us, in the universe, through our own selfless acts of giving. I have finished what I had to say for today. I have to just briefly explain to you something. Next Saturday and the Saturday after that, I'm having a show, and because of the show, I will not be able to take the session next Saturday. And then after that, I'm traveling. So I'm available now on 9th of July. We will have one session. And then again, I'm traveling after that. So there will be a week's break. Probably 9th, and then after that, three sessions when I return on 16th. I think I'm not there. After that, 23rd, 30th, and probably 6th of August. In about four sessions, I should be able to deal with chapter 18. Chapter 18, if you remember what I spoke at the time of chapter 2 is like a summary of the entire Gita, and details have all been unfolded bit by bit in the other chapters. Chapter 18 is like a final lesson of how we unbind ourselves from those limitations, those bondages that we have created on ourselves. How is it that we unbind ourselves? And so this has got about chapter 2 had about 72 verses. This is called got 78 verses. So we'll need about four sessions, is what my understanding is. And hopefully in the fourth session, I should be in a position to have you ask me some doubts once again towards the closure, or maybe some feedback, because that will be the last. Because 6th August, hopefully, if what I'm planning it goes well, 6th August should be our last session of this. 11th of September last year we started it. So in about 11 months, we have traveled a journey of understanding a week on week basis. We have traveled a journey of understanding our life through the lens of Gita. Hopefully, we should be able to succeed there. So that's all for now. Any questions, any points, anything that you want to say, any comments you want to pass, you're most welcome. We have a little time, and then we can close down. Okay, I think then I will wind up. ॐ पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः हरिः ॐ श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः हरिः ॐ Thank you, Chechi.
Hari Om, Suresh. Thank
Hari Om,
you.
Hari Om, Hari Om. Bye bye. Have a nice weekend, all of you. See you all on now 9th of July.